I know, buddy. It's a good day to be alive. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. I know I look like I've aged, but it's actually the chair behind me. The family and I played some Subnautica last night, and we needed a fourth chair, and we have this little, rug rocker in my daughter's room that my wife used. I guess we kind of use it too, and obviously we are using it again. So today I wanted to talk about, well, I didn't have much or many meaningful conversations at work today. Most of it was kind of internal. And I had one of those moments, and maybe you probably have had them as well, where you think upon a moment in your life or a scenario in your life that just rails on you and makes you way less than you know you are. Like assaults directly into your feeling, and that's like the feeling of insignificance. You see what you've amounted to in your life, and odds are if you have the ability to watch a video like so, you've amounted at least some sort of structure or life, something like that, to have enough material wealth to watch a video podcast of some sort. But then you'll have something saying like, remember what you did back then? Yeah, that's still in your brain. And you are that. But it's sometimes so overwhelming, it puts you in a dour mood. It saps your confidence. It saps your very being of its essence. It really is frustrating to have those memories you've already overcome, those times you've already overcome and proven you're better than, come back again. And Nietzsche said something like, when you're tired and when night falls, that's when old defeated enemies will rise up once again. And that makes sense. And I think it's a good and a bad thing. It's good in a slim way. It's terribly bad in another way to have these. It's good because you get to test your fortitude based on those past memories. Right? They come up again, and you have to measure that based on who you are right now. Like my first couple dating attempts, they didn't go very well. And I have a really strong one that's actually fairly recent, within the past couple years of my life, where I guess anger was one side, and it's if you are angry at somebody for one reason or another, if they return the anger, at least it's a relationship. At least you can kind of go with that. It's give and take. But it was apathy. It was like a non-existence. So passion versus a non-existent person. That's like, what's the point of it? And we bounce off strong emotions off of each other with the knowledge that that's what they are. But if you are inconsequential in the other person's eyes, you don't mean anything, don't amount to much, you're not as powerful, then it takes on like a different course. And so I actually borrowed something from Abraham Lincoln, out of all people. So what Abraham Lincoln did is, when he had a argument with another politician, like he was insulted by them or something, and he hated them, he would write it out on a letter, and he put it on his desk, and he'd read it every single day until he no longer felt a hated emotion when reading it, and then he put it away. And that was how he calmed himself. So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to write a letter to this person. So I did. I wrote a letter, and I was full intent on sending it to them. But then the apathy response came back to me, and I'm like, maybe I'm just not going to do this, because I don't think I'm going to get the reaction I want to. And then a day went by, and when I think about that whole scenario, it's just gone. It's amazing what happens when you articulate negative emotions, when you articulate the pains that you're going through, especially in language and especially on paper, because it's like one of the best gifts God gave us was language. That's as far as I can tell, your most powerful weapon. And I agree with Jordan Peterson on this, you become absolutely deadly if you become a master of language. Because what language does is it calls out the demonic and it calls out the chaotic. It articulates exactly what it is. It's roughly bringing things into the light of perception. If you can articulate it, you can understand it, at least somewhat. So if something's bugging you, or there's an addiction problem you might have, or maybe you can't control your diet, or maybe you can't stop smoking, start making some hashtags. Start writing down exactly what you do on paper. And it's the, what is it called? Well, I forget what it's called. It doesn't matter. I tried to look up based on a Google search. I could not find it. But it's almost like you bring to life the intangible when you start writing it down. So if you have a demon inside of you that craves alcohol, and that's just part of you roughly, but it is a demon. It's something you know you shouldn't do, but it compels you to act. It's like the ego and the super ego per Freud. It's like the horse you're riding on. Sometimes you have to listen to the horse because the horse needs a drink of water, but oftentimes, as the ego, you're riding the horse around trying to direct his path under scrutinizing gaze of the superego. That's kind of how that relationship works. So the way that you beat the demon of insignificance, at least from what I can see, is by writing down your issues, especially the ones you've overcome. Now the other acronym that's good to know is the HALT one. It's a hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or stressed out. You have to feed your needs because you could be a totally different person if you don't have your needs met. I know this because I have a family, and if they're all hungry, oh my goodness, I am the peacekeeper. And not only do you have to be the peacekeeper, you have to be the peacekeeper while you're making dinner. If you're angry, you're probably going to make a terrible decision. Lonely, well, you're subject to temptation. Tired, you just want to get to bed, and maybe your judgment's slowed or impaired. Stressed out, there's too many things on your plate, you can't make a decision. So those are all the things, and once you get those under control, you are calm and in your right mind. And even things maybe outside of just the immediate can help with that too. This is why, at least in my opinion, having faith in Christ is such a big deal, because he is the ideal. And though all those other things might come at you, it doesn't really matter, because you know how things are supposed to be in the long run, so you can aim at that. That's at least the person you're trying to emulate. He was in the desert 40 days and 40 nights. Still kept true to his word and character, even though he was tempted like everybody else. That's an amazing amount of overcoming. And if anything, that would be worthy of, studying the man and in his divinity, as far as I could tell, because no other person at that time or this time would have that kind of fortitude and still do what he did and be who he was. He was such a fascinating, awesome character, and one worthy of living up to. So I suppose that's the other way to beat addictions, or at least things that pull on the flesh, pull on the immediate, is to have some sort of transcendent view or transcendent aim of the world that you're looking at and trying to aim for. I don't know, buddy, we're almost done. This guy, he gets this twice a day. First in the morning, if I'm not up at 3 a.m., he is meowing my head off, and he'll lay down on me, he'll bat my nose, so, most of the time. And he knows he gets held in the morning. And then when I get home, this is what he looks forward to. He has to be alone a couple hours throughout the day. He's an old cat. He doesn't take to that very well. And he probably doesn't care about any of this insignificant stuff. The beauty of animals is they can't violate their nature. And it might take generation upon generation for their nature to change. They don't learn immediately. So cats have been domesticated for a long time. Same with dogs. And a cat and a dog will love you, and a chicken even, will love you literally to death, regardless of what you do to them to a point. And because they can't violate their nature, they are what they are. I know C.S. Lewis talked about when referring to animals being in heaven, he thinks maybe the spirit of the animal, like the spirit of all lions will be in heaven, the spirit of all house cats. Like who knows what that really looks like? It's not really mentioned so much. And that's going into eschatology a little bit, so, the hereafter, and we'll talk about that later. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Just wanted to bring up maybe a simple solution how to deal with the demon of insignificance, because you are way more than your lowest moment. You are that lowest moment at the same time, because that's just part of your life. But forget about that, as far as the East is from the West, because God does, especially when you put your faith in Christ. And just move on and move higher, because you are better than that. You can move beyond it. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, and all that stuff. I'll see you next time. Take care.